Hello, I'm Chris Ripper. I've written 50 books. I have a book to write in the next 4 weeks. So obviously, I'm making a YouTube video. I get scared every time I start a book. There's no exception to that rule. I guess the only exception would be if somehow I don't realize I'm about to start a book, but that doesn't happen when you're on a deadline, obviously. What if I forget how to write a book? What if I stall out in the middle or at 30%? 30% is a very common stalling out moment. Blakey, you're not in the shot. You gotta get in the shot. Yeah. No, you can't rub yourself on a cord. That's not good. What if my deadline is in 4 weeks, but this book goes all the stand on me, and unlike Stephen King, I can't just put it aside for 5 years until I figure out how to answer the question the book has posed? That is a very real fear. I actually don't remember how long it took Stephen King to answer the question that stopped him in the middle of the stand. I think it was 5 years. It could have been less time than that, but I apparently don't have an ebook copy of On Writing, so I don't know. But you can check out On Writing by Stephen King if you want to know the full story. When I was younger as a writer, this felt a lot more out of my control. This fear would stop me starting or stop me finishing many books. These days, I have a pretty decent feel for the range of time my brain can tolerate this particular fear before it calcifies and I can't finish the book that I have started or start the book that I'm afraid of. For this particular book, that range of time is 3 days. Starting yesterday, I have another 2 days before I can begin writing this book. This is a top secret at this moment project, though if you are watching this from the not actually that distant future, you can guess in the comments what book it's about. In the next 2 days, the only real rule for my dialogue-driven brain about this pre-officially beginning to write period of time is that I cannot start thinking in dialogue. If I start thinking in dialogue, I will think all the good dialogue bits and my brain will stop wanting to actually write the book to get to them. Once I start writing, when I'm on this tight a deadline, I start writing and I go to the end. I am allowed to take a day if I need one because my brain has shorted out. But during that day, I'm not allowed to think about the book. I'm not allowed to think about the characters. I'm not allowed to think about plot points or research or do anything. I can make notes about those things, but I cannot do them. This is all the same theme, which is building anticipation. And then when I go back to the book, I write. I write full on. I write every day. I write until the book is done. When I'm on this tight a deadline, why can't I say deadline today? It's so weird. When I'm on this tight a deadline for a book, any writing is good writing. If I have to force it, that's fine. If I have to delete it later, that's fine. It really doesn't matter. On this tight a deadline, I need to gain momentum and keep going until the end. This process, as I have just defined it for you, would not have worked for me when I had only written 3 books or 5 books. This is a process that I've really worked through, and I have the confidence that I can finish books because I have finished so very many books in the past. The same process will not work for everyone. It may not work for you. On the other hand, if you too are intimidated by a new project, be it a writing project, a woodworking project, learning how to weld, whatever that project is, allow me to suggest building anticipation and restricting the moment of beginning to a specific day. If I'm not even allowed to begin writing until the day after tomorrow, it is much, much easier for me to build excitement today that is bigger than my fear. Because today, the stakes are low. I can't even start writing. The excitement is really, really high, and the fear is relatively low, or at least much lower than it would be if I had to start writing today. So the idea is to build the excitement to this level today, to that level tomorrow, and then even when the fear kicks in on the next day, I'm going to be buzzing at a relatively high level of excitement. That's essentially it, but before I go, I did want to mention the different things that I am using, just because that might be helpful to someone who is writing a book or doing any number of other things. I'm using a new to me outlining feature in my favorite timeline software, which is Eon Timeline. I haven't used this particular template before that has it allows you to play with the different subplots, and I'm trying to do that more so I keep track of where I am in the different plot lines and pacing. I use Scrivener for writing and drafting, and I will also say that Scrivener and Eon Timeline have a sync thing where you can sync them and then your dates will show up in Scrivener, so I plan to use that for this project. I don't always, but this project is, as I said, a compressed timeline in terms of the writing, and a very specific timeline in terms of the book itself. So we'll see how that works. I'm also using a support document in Google Docs, which has the Save the Cat beats from Save the Cat for Novels by Jessica Brody, and I am using, as a reference, Gwen Hayes' Romancing the Beat for my kind of romance beats, because if my pacing is off, and it's a romance novel, my pacing is almost always off in the romance beats somewhere. So I like to have a little bit of structure. Am I wedded to any of this? No. If any of it doesn't work, will I never look at it again? Yeah. But today I'm not allowed to start writing and I gotta do something, so that's what I'm doing. A little bit of fun outlining, a little bit of fun world building, not taking any of it too seriously, not getting too much in my head about it. That's it. I am Chris Ripper. I've written many books. I'm still scared of them. I still wonder every single time if I'm going to be able to finish the book that I have just started. Will that ever end? I have no idea. Thanks for watching. Do all the usual things if you want to. You know how that works. I will add relevant links in the description. Goodbye from both me and Blakey, who is majestically standing in a shaft of sunlight at the window. Bye. I hope this doesn't get messed up sound, because the shower's on in the background.